Right, then here we go with the bouncing ball tutorial. Very important concept this is in animation, the bouncing ball. It covers a lot of the principles of animation. Principles that you'll use all the time. So we're on Blender 5 now. We've updated from Blender 4.3. And the previous 12 tutorials for the beginner series, they're fully compatible with Blender 5. If you want to use Blender 5 for the beginning Blender series, that's no problem at all. You can do that. So we've updated to Blender 5. I'll go through some of the changes in one of my other tutorials, but nothing major. Everything works the same. Yep, so we're on the bouncing ball then. So we've got our epic pen. Let's hit N here. Let's go into animation. Let's set our... I'm going to be rendering a lot of these for Instagram. Let's go into our timeline there. We've got our epic pen. Let's hit T. Bring our tool up and in there. Screencast keys. Not sure what's that. Maybe there's an error with. Well, screencast keys are on. Or maybe I need to update screencast keys for Blender 5 because that doesn't seem to be working, unfortunately. We'll have to look into that in the next in the future. Anyway, right, so this bouncing ball then. Let's just hide the camera and lights. We don't need the cube for now. And let's add mesh. UV sphere. Let's right click and shade smooth on that. I like to see my wireframe. Don't know why, but I do. Let's go to move that up. Control A, all transforms. Let's get our tool. And we need to think about, we'll scale this as well a bit. It fits on screen. Control A, all transforms. So there's our ball. So let's think about timing. Let's just put it as a 1.5 for now. And we'll loop this. So there's our basic ball. Let's just adjust the camera then. Let's try and get set that to 90. Move this up here. 90. Move this down. Maybe somewhere there. I think what we'll do as well is add a mesh plane so we've got a floor to bounce on. Bring that floor all the way to there. We might add an infinite background, but we can do that in a bit. F2 floor. Select the ball. F2 ball. Right. So there's our. Let's grab our camera. Let's do we get some more space there. Let's just set it like that for now. Hide the camera. Right, so let's think about this bouncing ball then. I mean, it covers a lot of the principles. Anticipation. Squash and stretch. Timing. We're going to just be going up and down with this one. If it was moving in space, there'd be arcs. So it's got loads of principles of animation, this bouncing ball. So let's think about the keyframes of it, the timing. I think we'll have a keyframe. Let's enable auto key. And let's have a keyframe where it's squashing at the start. So when this ball hits the deck, it's high. So you get a keyframe on it all. It's going to squash this ball when it hits the surface. We can tweak this, but let's just get a basic how we think it might be. Squashed like that. And then it's going to come up in. So what we'll do, we'll go to copy, paste. That can be our 2 keyframes of the loop. And let's just go to, say, the middle. Set the scale to 1. But make sure you're obviously in the middle of your keys. And I change the arrow to the opposite way now, from 4.3 to 5, the up and down arrows. So at 15, let's just put it there for now and set the scale to 1. So it squashes there, and it's going to go up, and it's going to come back down. So that's the basic core timing, core or raw timing of this bouncing ball. And it's 24 FPS is what you want to work in. That's for film. I've always worked in 24 FPS. So that's the core. If you press play now, there's the basic core timing for ball. Just wet me whistle. So let's have a look at some breakdown poses of this then. So it squashes. As it comes up there, it sets the scale back to 1. And it's going to stretch there as it comes back up. But generally not as much stretch as when it's coming down, because there's more force when it's coming down, so there'll be more stretch. But there will be a bit of stretch as it goes back up. Something like that. So, bit of stretch there, and then coming up. It's going to keep going up and kind of de-stretch. And as it hits the top, there'll actually be a little bit of squash in this ball. Just a little bit of squash. So use your scale. I mean, if this was for a game, you'd obviously add the bone there. And you'd parent the mesh to the bone. As you remember from the rigging tutorial, this is just in Blender, so we haven't got to kind of like rig it properly. So it's going to come up there. And as it comes back down, let's set the middle to 1. Here, for example. It's really going to stretch quite a bit there. Because the force of it coming down, it's going to be more force. That's another quite important thing in animation. Force and inertia. It's going to stretch there. Quite a bit of a stretch. We'll tweak this in the curves. See how it looks. So yeah, a stretch. So if you press play now, it's got some squash and stretch in there. But obviously the timing is quite floaty. So there's a lot of ways to go about animation. You know, setting. People like to do pose to pose as well, and straight ahead. This is more pose to pose, where you're setting golden poses. Some people are straight ahead every key in line, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I prefer this method, and so do most animators. So we thought about 30 seconds, 30 frames, sorry, which is second and a quarter. What about if we go to 25 frames and adjust this timing? Remember, on a loop, first frame, same as the last frame. And then what you do then, you truncate the last frame, and it'll be a perfect flow then. So there's a basic timing of it. But what we want to look into is getting some nice hang time at the top. So your curve will hang more. So the ball will hang more at the top. So what we can do now, we've got our core keys in there, our timing. Let's go into the graph editor. We can close these rotation channels, we don't need them. Let's close the scale channels for now. We don't need X. We don't need Y. It looks like it's just a Z or Z. So only keyframe handles, and don't show the cursor. It's a bit annoying, that cursor. It's confusing because it's the same colour as the Z. So there's our core curve really for this ball. So what we can do is start polishing this curve like we've done in the beginning blend with the character. So there's our curve. So this ball slows out a bit there, doesn't it? So it's slowing out. It'll come up. And let's try move that and hold X. Let's put it in the middle, see what that gives us. I was just moving the scale as well then. Just in case, because I think we put a bit of squash on it, didn't we? So that's going to come up, hang a little bit, then come back down. But really, you could do with it hanging. Nice hang time. So we're just adjusting this tangent handle now to give more hang in this C, Z. I'm just not sure what to say, Z or Z. And if people are what I think an American thing, Z, isn't it? So let's just pull that and see what the hang time gives there. It's not too bad. It's hanging quite well, but it seems to not pick up too much. It's not picking up that much speed, is it? what we can do there, we had the slow out, but what we could do, we could delete that and go to handle type vector, move that curve down to there, and then this one, right click as well, handle type vector, and you're getting a fasting then, a fasting, not a slow, and it's going fast into the, as it hits, because it's hitting a solid, it's hitting something solid, obviously the floor. So I think the law of physics is something along the lines of something will stay in motion until it's affected by something or hits something. Well, obviously there it hits the floor, so it's going to be affected by that. So that's a really good way by using that vector handle type, and you just drag over it, right click, handle type vector. So you've adjusted the vector and the curve. Let's just press play. That's got a nice little bit of hang time. It's bouncing into it nicely, isn't it? Boing, boing. It's just frame through. Control S. Bouncing ball. So yeah, really get into them curves and get them curves polished. So let's analyse this curve. As I say, nice little bit of hang time at the top, so the ball hangs in the air, and then this curve is picking up speed there. It's more straight. It's really going fast into that, hit the floor, force. And if you was animating a character, for example, where his foot hits the floor, that's the kind of curve you'll use, because it's a hard hit onto the floor. So you can tweak that to your heart's content. So bounce, bounce, bounce. And notice keyframe, keyframe. And as I say, get rid of that last but one frame, and it flows straight into a perfect loop then, because your next frame will go back to the same frame. That's how you get your perfect loop in an animation. So let's look at the, so that's our Z location. We don't need X and Y because we're only just bouncing on the spot. Let's shut that and look at our scale, see what that says. So that's not bad, that's pretty decent squash, isn't it? Remember, first frame same as the last, so go over both of them. You could maybe squash it a bit more in Y. X, let's grab that, move that, see what that gives. Can't really see the X. Y, let's have a look at that. Did we do Y? I think we done Y. Just Z. What's Z giving us? Squashing it down. That's quite squashed, isn't it? And then it comes back up. Adjust the handles a bit. Comes back up and then goes to back to normal. Normal sort of form. Hangs in the air, squashes a little bit. little bit of squash. And as it comes back down, it'll really start to squash more. Stretch, sorry. So, squash and then stretch. What you could probably do, look at the X, not really affected. Let's just go back to the Y location. And that should probably be more. Maybe down a bit more. Let's just see what that gives if we bring that. It's just tweaking curves. And that's maybe a bit too much of a bounce there. You can just do that by tweaking this curve down a bit. So it slows out a little bit more. Let's have a look at this one. See what that gives if you bring it to there maybe. And if you bring that Z right down there, you can also right click and go to free, and it just moves to one side of the handle. So right click, click free. And just tweak them curves, see if that makes it any different. So that's a very basic bouncing ball. Not perfect, but that's how it works. Boing, boing, boing. So it's just about tweaking the curves now, really. Just take it as far as you want, but yeah, that's a basic bouncing ball. So what can we do now? Let's just go to edit mode on this. And extrude that out. Bring that up. I think if we select this edge, Control B, bevel that. Add a load of segments. You can just add a basic infinite plane there, can't we? And light it. I'm not going to do all this, I've got a lighting tutorial. Which I shall, that should come up now, you can view that. Boing, boing. What we will do is, I think, we'll just go to edit mode on this. And could we just select edge loops, right click, mark seam, I to select all, unwrap, minimum stretch. But remember, before you do that, hang on, it's UV editor, yeah, it's alright, it's unwrapped. We could just add a basic texture to that, couldn't we? So I'll do a couple of things and just bring you back for the end, show you what I've done. Right then, so just for the last bit I'll bring you back, just show you what I've done on it. nothing complex. If you just go into edit mode on that eye to select all, you go into UV editor, just a basic texture there. And if you unwrap, you can just go to sphere projection and just scale it up so it matches the UVs. I'll put if you want to download that texture, I'll put that as in the description. So if we go back into the 3D viewport, could do with being a bit lighter there, but I'm not here to polish stuff. I just used the light that was in the scene originally, 2,500, and it casts a shadow down the bottom. Another light here to bring out a bit of light. It's more, you can see the face more. That doesn't cast shadows, so you just get the one core shadow as he bounces. And I'll just render that out, maybe brighten up a little bit here in post. So that's it really for the bouncing ball. And the core things to take away is, if you go into your graph editor, that's your main thing, is that curve there. We've incorporated principles of animation, some real core ones there. Timing, squash and stretch, which also on this relates to anticipation, relates to your squash and stretch if you think about it, because he's anticipating and then going back up, bouncing back up. Probably should be a bit more squashing there really, but it's just a basic bouncing ball tutorial. So that's the basics of a bouncing ball. There you go guys, the bouncing ball, very important. So I'll see you on the next one. Cheers guys. Oh, and just quickly, obviously when you render it out, go into cycles really, GPU compute, and you can just bump your samples up here in your render settings, denoise it. But yeah, that's your simple bouncing ball. There you go, the bouncing ball. See you on the next one.